report in the Atlantic that you gave an interview to, you said, quote, "I think it is legitimate to say how many federal agents were on the plane."
Hashtag Vivek Ramaswamy takes down Caitlin Collins on hashtag CNN. Love the titling. Love the rip on this. I think Vivek is the rising star. I don't think that he will end up winning anything, obviously, for the reasons I've stated time and time again. Most important one being that he is an Indian man running in the Republican primaries. And, of course, Republicans are still going to have a lot of racist hangups towards that sort of thing. But he is very clever. He's a bit like the Pete Buttigieg, but not really, because I think Pete Buttigieg spoke in circles. Vivek is smart enough to tell you, he's smart enough to be like, I hate woke culture. You know what I mean? Like, he does a good job articulating his positions, but he also very clearly would tell you like what he fucking thinks is what the crowd wants to hear.
Planes that hit the Twin Towers. Maybe the answer is zero. It probably is zero for all I know, right? I have no reason to think it was anything other than zero, but if we're doing a comprehensive assessment of what happened on 9/11, we have a 9/11 commission. Absolutely, there should be an answer the public knows the answer to. Explain to me what you meant there.
This is really, it's funny. I mean, the Atlantic is playing the same game as CNN. It's funny. What I said is on January 6th, I do believe that there were many federal agents in the field and we deserve to know who they are. On 9/11, what I've said is that the government lied. And this is incontrovertible evidence, Caitlin. The government lied about Saudi Arabia's involvement. There was a Saudi spy named al-Bayoumi who they lied, and the government lied, and the 9/11 Commission lied. We know that because declassified reports in 2021 revealed that al-Bayoumi was indeed. What's that?
Yeah, the report that President Biden declassified. Yes. But your quote here, are you telling me that the quote is wrong
20 years later,
here?
Yeah.
But are you telling me that your quote is wrong here because it says how many federal agents were on the plane at the Twin Towers?
Yeah, when I actually, and this is just lifting the curtain on how media works again, I asked that reporter to send the recording because it was on the record. He refused to do it. But we had a free-flowing conversation. The truth is there are lies the government has told about 9/11, but it's not the ones that somebody put in my mouth. It's the one that I articulated, which is that Saudi Arabia, absolutely, their intelligence was involved in 9/11. And that's a difficult thing you're not supposed to say. The facts back that up. Separately, as it relates to January 6th, same story all over again. There were federal agents in the field. I think they've lied about how many there were. And we, the people, deserve the truth, despite the layers of distortion that exist in the media to prevent us from getting it.
You're saying that you were misquoted here. So we will take you at your word.
Yes.
You're saying that you were misquoted here. But you were asked another time recently about whether or not 9/11 was an inside job. This is what your response was.
9/11 inside job or exactly how the government tells us?
Okay, this is sad because, like, they're just making him more likable. Like, what's happening? Like, what the fuck is CNN doing?
I don't believe the government has told us the truth. Again, I'm driven by evidence and data. What I've seen in the last several years is we have to be skeptical of what the government does tell us. I haven't seen evidence to the contrary, but do I believe everything the government told us about it? Absolutely not.
Last two questions.
The 9/11 Commission? Absolutely not.
I mean, Vic, I think people look at those comments. They look at what you said in the Atlantic, which you say you were misquoted. They look at comments that you've made about the Federal Reserve adding zeros to media companies' bank accounts. And I mean, it looks like you're floating conspiracy theories with this defense of I'm just asking questions.
Well, when you actually quote me, those are my words, and I stand by them. So somebody else quoting me, putting words in my mouth, I have a problem with. But those words I stand by. You want to know why? Because we literally know the FBI, the 9/11 Commission, the U.S. government on down, told us specifically that Saudi Arabia had no involvement. 20-plus years later, quietly declassifying documents showing that not only did Saudi Arabia have involvement, it was a Saudi intelligence agent that received two of those terrorists that crashed planes on 9/11, killing Americans.
But the question was, is 9/11 an inside job? And you didn't say no.
Caitlin,
That's what I think people are looking at.
Caitlin, you know what's really funny? You literally just played that, and you could play it for your audience again. He said, or do you believe everything the government has told us? And my answer was, I do not believe everything the government has told us,
but you see
because
the
they
point.
lied.
The point is
and
that
I know
it leaves
this game
the door
comes
open.
up, Caitlin,
It's
every
not
time
a
there's
game.
an outsider who comes
in. It leaves
in.
the door open, Vivek. It leaves the door open, and someone who's a
Caitlin,
9/11 truther
we
looks
have a
at that and
government that
says, that's
systematically
exactly what I
lies.
believe. You
That
think the
was a-
government's
that was
lying
a
about
comedian
9/11?
It's kind of wild because he's just better on camera in a contentious manner than little Rhonda is. You know what I mean? He is getting cooked right now by Caitlin Collins, especially in the way that like CNN and liberal media journalists love putting on their fucking journalist hat on when it's like often going against whatever the State Department has told us. They're so good at ripping people to shreds. And he's still doing a decent job defending himself. When I say cooking him, I don't mean like she's doing a great job dissecting her statements. What I mean is she's immediately, and I would say flagrantly contentious, which these guys never are, no matter who they're talking to. Like, you don't see CNN get this way until it's someone that they have chosen to unload on. Like, you rarely ever see CNN be this combative. Now, maybe she's grilling him because she thinks he's a bullshit candidate and they don't care because they think he's like a clout shark like Andrew Yang and he's not going to win, and then he'll come on the show regardless of how aggressive they are. This is what people wanted news orgs to do since 2016, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And they do it. They do it all the time. The problem is they only do it to like Bernie Sanders, who's an outsider, or they do it to people like fucking Vivek Ramaswamy. And they don't have this kind of energy for, I don't know, when some spokesperson says Havana syndrome is real. They don't have this kind of energy when Democrats or Republicans Wait, what? Oh, that's awesome. Ramaswamy was already a millionaire when he accepted Soros Award he said he needed to pay for law school. Bro, oh, they're coming after him. Dude, Fox News. Whoa. This is perhaps the greatest proof, in my opinion, that they're worried about how well he's doing in the polls. That's insane. That is actually fucking nutso. What is happening? No, they aren't. Lamau. I mean, he is. He's pumping in the polls. I don't think he'll win because he's too brown. But what do you mean he's not? He's not an entity now. What are you talking about? In the race, if we're looking at the race and we're looking at numbers, Vivek Ramaswamy is close. Is like in striking distance of little Rhonda, and in some instances he's number 2. So what do you mean? He's hot right now. He is hot right now. Oh yeah, I saw this one. This one is so dumb. Anyway.
I think the government has systematically and for a very long time lied about 9/11. And I think I'm the only presidential candidate that's told us the truth. Saudi Arabia's involvement. It is absolutely true.
But you don't
that
think
Saudi
that 9/11
Arabia
was an inside job, correct?
Of course not. And I've never said it. But the
But
media
that's a pretty
filters do
simple
create
answer.
a lot of
It's not
falsehoods.
a media filter. You
but
have to
that's the
stop
truth.
blaming the media. I'm asking you about comments that you have made.
And I'm telling you that the comments I made, the ones you just played, are indeed what I believe, which was not that 9/11 was an inside job, but that Saudi Arabia absolutely was involved, and our government for 20 years lied to the American people about it.
There was an entire
That is
9/11
hard
commission
fact,
report
actually.
on this.
Yes, and it lied, and it was false. And in fact, you know where that's coming out, Caitlin? There's now a case, a federal case in the Southern District of New York, where the government of Saudi Arabia is being sued by victims of families.
the
That's why
families,
this is
yes.
resurfacing itself. It is relevant, and it turns
But
out
there's a difference
in
in
those
asking
declassified
questions
documents
about Saudi
that the
Arabia's
government lied.
involvement and the government's involvement, and then pushing this idea that whenever what your comment about who was on the plane and then was 9/11 an inside job where you did not say no earlier. That's why it's important to clarify those comments, because otherwise it feels like you're towing the line when it comes to conspiracy theories.
Caitlin, I am guilty as charged that I do not follow the establishment super PAC donor-approved script on these questions, but I am speaking truth, grounded in fact, at every step of the way, and that's what's really elicited something of an anaphylactic reaction.
It's a weird thing to discuss as a Republican. Not really. Post-Trump, they went sour on Bush, remember? Trump attacked Bush and said that Bush was wrong for Iraq. Like, it's pretty funny. Yeah, he was created by a PAC. Yeah, it's pretty funny when Vivek fucking talks about, like, I'm not bought and paid for by super PACs. It's like, bitch, what do you mean? You are literally bought and paid for by super PACs. Did you see how our boy Chris Christie is doing? Historical run. What Chris Christie has done is kind of amazing for a partisan figure. Every single demographic has an equally poor view of him. They just don't represent. They don't want to see a big boy win, dude. I'm sick and tired of it. Americans are not ready for the Christie train, and I hate that.